It's been a while. Hi. I'm just going to wait for you to find out that I'm here because apparently they've changed the format a little bit. And I couldn't let you guys know, but I'm going to just wait and see if you get notified. It's so weird. It's not even showing up on my own channel. Where is it? This is why I haven't been posting it on Patreon. Hold on a second. Let me try this again. I did do this at New Year. Oh, hi. Hi, guys. Thank you for popping in. I'm trying to figure out how to find my own video so I can share it to Patreon because they've changed something here. And okay, it's there now. All right, fine, good. Hi. Hey, Cynthia. Hi. Hi, Tony. Hi, Cece. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad to see you guys. Hold on a second. Let me just share this to Patreon. I've been really bad with that because they've changed a lot of things around here and on Patreon too, and it's like a whole new learning curve for me all over again. Okay, plus I can see how awful I look. Hold on a second. Oh, I was seeing myself on the screen there. Okay, let me just share this link so people on my Patreon can know. Hi, Pam. Hi, Nicole Ray. I'm so glad to see you guys. I hope the lighting's not horrible. Hold on a second. Okay, I just have to like embed this. Like they've changed things so much that I feel super old to tell you the truth. Hold on a second. Paste, embed. Okay, next. Oh, God. Sorry, bear with me. All right. Okay, I was just trying to share it to Patreon because um oh, stress because like there's my thumbnail. I left the goofiest thumbnail up. The lighting's good. Okay, cool. Yeah, I just shared it because like I don't know, I haven't been really coming on here live like basically since my mother passed. I guess like I used to come on here once a week and talk to you guys, and then after she passed I kind of got in a slump and I didn't come live, and then it's kind of hard to like get back. And plus though, it's not like I haven't been keeping busy because I'm still on Poshmark and I'm doing lives on there too. And plus I finally got accepted on Whatnot, and so I got myself in that mess. So now I'm auctioning on Whatnot. But the cool thing about that is that people in the States can buy from me too now, which was always the problem. Stella, your cat has gone missing. That's awful. I'm so sorry. I don't know what I would do if my cat went missing, man. That must be really stressful. Hey, Matt. Hey, it's so nice to see you guys. Oh my gosh. And it's been so long. So, I got to tell you something though. My birthday, October 10th. Nah, thank you, David. It's good to see you guys. Hi, vegan now. Yeah, like I feel like I kind of have to level with you about something. Like I've been really keeping this to myself and I haven't been really seeing anyone. I'm just like in this little bubble in my own little world in my home with my family, and like just working all the time. Um I'm your favorite transgender YouTuber. That's hilarious because I'm not transgender. Because sometimes women just this looks, I mean, what do you expect a woman to look like, for fuck's sake? I'm so sick and tired of this whole transgender thing. It's getting ridiculous. Anyway, hi Holly. So I mean, I did give birth, so that's kind of, oh my God. Oh, for fuck's sake, don't tell me we have the trolls in here again. Pam, can you just send the trolls into what was it called? The abyss of eternal peril or whatever it is. The gorge. Send them into the gorge of eternal peril. I just, I'm so just done. And it's, well, okay, you know what though? Actually, trolls means more engagement, but I guess they know that it means it also derails the fucking conversation. Of course, I'm not trans, but I mean, actually, since they brought it up, like I found that whole thing was ridiculous because being a woman isn't about how you look, you know. I mean, there are a lot of different looking women. You can be quite masculine looking. It's not how you look that makes you a man or a woman. And I thought, I haven't really talked about this too much, except for that one funny video I did, that the whole focus on the looks and the like femininity, I find that my reality on the ground as a woman is that look at my nails. Oh my God, look at my nails. They're slay. We don't have time for the nails. Do I wear makeup? No. Do I have time to worry about those things? No, because my role as a woman is actually a double role of a caregiver and a breadwinner. I think people forget that as women we work double hard. We're not trophies. We're not like, handbag chihuahuas that look pretty and you carry around with you. And the more I watch this unfolding about the transgender thing and how they're trying to look more feminine and they feel that they're a woman, they feel that they're feminine because they like pink or they like to dress up. They like to wear dresses. Look at me, I don't wear dresses because I don't care, because it has no relevance, because my worth and my value, what I contribute day to day, is not based on how I look anymore. It's the only time it was important, I guess, was when I was trying to find a man because I wanted to have a family. Or being in the spotlight. Sometimes you it matters. It does matter, but it's not that important. Like, it can matter to you if it does and it makes you happy, that's great, but that's not what defines you as a woman. And I feel like as women, we're under an enormous amount of pressure in that department, because as far as we like to think we've come, to some degree, our value is still based on our looks in the sense of the signs of youth and fertility, right? That's what we live with as women, that to some degree, once you lose the signs of youth and fertility, unless you're a very important political or scientific or whatever figure, you become a little bit invisible, because that is just how you're judged. But that's not what makes you a woman, how you look. It doesn't matter. Me, I'm past that, because I'm not looking to get a job, so I'm not trying to impress anybody. I make my own job. I take care of my family. I take care of my home economics. Like I said, I'm a caregiver and a breadwinner, not an ornament. So the more I watched this, the more I thought this is a step backward for women, because it's bringing us back to a time where we're valued on some external standards of femininity and beauty, and it made me think that I bet you that there are a lot of young girls who don't meet that standard and think that that means that they're not really a woman and maybe they should be transgender. I think that could have that effect, when really there's no right or wrong way to be a woman, no. So I think that a lot of people have been kind of, I don't want to say brainwashed, but I think influenced to think that they weren't enough as they were. And that's actually quite sad. It's not the kind of thing you want to have a trend about. But anyway, now that we got that out of the way, well, I wanted to talk about that. I mean, that is something that I do on here, is I'll give my point of view on things. And since somebody brought it up, I'll comment on that. That I think that this whole focus, and a lot of it just came through the social media, that whole focus, I don't think it benefited women at all. And I think it probably made a lot of people feel inadequate. And I personally don't feel inadequate, and I just rock this shit. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Debbie. Yeah, anyway, I'm not that susceptible to those kind of influences, but I did want to tell you guys that, yeah, like after my mother passed away, I just wanted to like sort of take a break, and I had a lot going through my head, but I don't know, I just didn't feel like talking about it, and sometimes I feel like, I don't want to come on here and talk about things that it's a downer or whatever. So I didn't want to talk anymore about my mother and what had happened and all the stuff regarding that. But you know what it really was? I had been so deeply involved as a caregiver. Wait, Matt, what you said, it hurt women in the gay community in the long run. Yeah, I agree. And my gay friends also have said, some of them have said that, yeah, it actually like backfired. But let's move on. Um, I was so deeply involved in the role of a caregiver to my mother. It just became such a big part of my life. And there was a time where I was over there like several days a week for hours at a time. Hi, September Cajun. Thank you. I was there for several hours. And don't forget, at the time, I was homeschooling my autistic son and I had him in tow. Can you guys imagine the stress of bringing your unruly autistic 11-year-old to see your unruly mother with Alzheimer's? I mean, sometimes I thought it was going to break out into a physical fight because she didn't know who he was because he didn't look like a child so much. She thought he was a man. She didn't recognize him. She was scared. And my son is difficult and he wasn't always, entertained to his satisfaction. So between the two of them, sometimes it was rough, so there was that. I mean, not to say like it was all bad, but I mean, it's just hard to get Gunner to do anything. And I had to bring him over there with me and then take care of her. So yeah, it was like double duty. And then, besides all the other stuff that I do, I don't know how I do it sometimes. And you know what? Sometimes I feel like no matter what I do, it's never enough. And there's never enough hours in a day, and I never have enough energy for all of it. And I'm always trying so hard. And I always feel like I didn't do enough. You know what I mean? Because there's always something that didn't get done. So that's something that I struggle with. Um, but I was so involved with her care for so long. And I think that sometimes when you're dealing with something it is kind of heavy, at the time, I wasn't upset, like, except for like there were some times where things were not going well. Thank you, Cece. But have you ever lived through something like with a loved one being sick? Hi, Murdy. Nice to see you. I'm so glad you made it. Yeah, have you ever lived with something where, maybe you have a loved one who's going through an illness and it's like you're in this mode. It not like a robot, but it's like you've gone into this mode where you're just taking care of stuff and well, taking care of this person and you're just dealing with one thing after the other. And people are like, I don't know how you do it. You're so strong and blah, blah, blah. You got a lot on your plate. And really, it's like there's like another part of you that has to die to do that. Yeah, like autopilot, like Patrick says. It's like you're just going around like this shell getting the stuff done. And you're not feeling any pain, you're not really feeling anything. Maybe you're not feeling the good things either though. And then when it's over and then it's like you can breathe and at that point all that burnout that you should have had, it all just like can just come out. You moved in with your elderly mother, you moved your mother in with you 2 years ago and you're a completely different person. Yeah, I really just the role of a caregiver all the time. I've been in that role for so long with Aaron and I guess with my son also, that it's become like my new normal. But definitely it's a different kind of life. And I'm not complaining. I'm not trying to say like, oh, feel bad for me because I'm also grateful that I get to take care of Aaron because that worked out well. Since our son turned out to be autistic, it would have been very hard for me to hold a job. So I'm very grateful for that. But realistically, on the ground, I don't think it's a normal way to live. And if those of you who see me now, like you can probably tell I'm not the person that I was 10 years ago. I was a lot more carefree. Things were like lighter. So but it is what it is. I guess you adapt. But what I was gonna say was that you guys know I hit my head last year at Christmas, and I figured that was what it was. I started feeling, oh, thank you, Murdy, thank you. I started feeling so bad after I hit my head, and I thought it must be a concussion. And it took me like 3 months to realize that I'd become very light sensitive. And honestly, it felt like my whole nervous system was so dysregulated. I can't even tell you. I never had a feeling like this in my life. I never, ever, ever had anything like that. It wasn't a panic attack. I've had this before. There was not even a way to describe it. It was just like if I say I felt like I was poisoned, you guys are gonna say, oh well, it's because you're eating this or that. It wasn't like that though. It was just like my whole body, like my arms and my legs. I can't even explain like how bad and how uncomfortable it was. And it was like a 10 out of 10 at the beginning. And I thought, oh my gosh, like this isn't livable. But it was not the whole day. It started out okay in the morning and it would kick in later in the day. And then it started to get better. And I remember when I went on vacation, it was gone. So I was like, okay, so I'm not like permanently brain damaged because I'm fine on vacation. And then since that time, there's been times where it's better and there's times where it's not gone, you know? And I had like 2 months where I felt normal every day. And then all of a sudden it came back. And the problem is that I can't really put a name on it. Um, I guess the closest would be like a malaise or something. But if you try to explain this to a doctor, like they don't understand. I have no idea what is wrong with me, to be honest. And I don't, maybe it's not the kind of thing somebody wants to hear me say, but I feel like I want to level with you. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's wrong with me. It comes and goes. Sometimes it's really bad, and sometimes it's just like simmering. And it was gone for like at least a couple months. And then I did that whole Vlogmas thing. I did oh yeah, the cleanup. I like decluttered my entire apartment. I dehoarded. Well, it wasn't hoarding, but it was just a mess, you know, from the reselling. I did that and I vlogged every day. And then at the end of that, I was back to feeling horrible. And I was like, I really just can't do what I used to do. But I can't figure out what's the trigger. I can't figure it out because I love what I do. As far as my work goes with the selling, I'm happy to do that. Why would that make me feel bad? I don't understand. Sometimes I thought is from like when I take a lot of photos, I'm looking at my phone and I have to have the brightness on. I mean, as you see, I still have no idea I'm fishing. And stress, I thought maybe it is. Maybe I'm like really burnt out, but I've never felt like this before. I don't know what the hell is wrong with me. And it's not really gone. And it's ever actually it was ever since I hit my head under the table. But I mean, anyway, you know, hey, veg remedy. But this is different than like you didn't eat and your blood sugar crashed. This is a really weird feeling. And I said this like way back that I was looking up like what those trying to describe the symptoms and Googling it. And what came up was people who were talking about benzo withdrawal. And I thought that it kind of sounds like what I feel like, except that I have not taken any benzos. So I don't have that, but I think the closest description would be like some kind of drug withdrawal, but I haven't done any drugs. So it's not that, but it's just some kind of really bad, like dysregulation. And it makes me so like snappy and I'm trying to be patient with Gunnar and Aaron. And it's so hard, you know, I'm trying to keep a calm tone. And Gunnar, like he's a lovely person. I know he's very funny and he's very talented and he's playing Russian music on the guitar lately and it sounds great. But he has another side to him, which is I mean, I've never met anyone like who has this kind of problem. It's so far from normal that I don't even have words to describe. Like there's no reasoning with it. It's extremely, I guess you could say neurotic, but he doesn't like it. He even says, I don't want to be like this. He suffers from it. It's just, you know, and he argues a lot. Well, I don't think it's mold exposure. Oh, what, me? No, I don't think so because I've looked into all those things, you know, and people who've been exposed to mold, they're like sick and they're like that all the time. Whereas me, like as soon as I left the city, I was fine. Somebody with mold exposure, they can't just like walk away. And then there's other times where I've been here and I've been fine. I think that it had something to do with hitting my head, and I think it did something to me. I can't explain it, but I'm sorry, guys. So I try to do as much as I can, and I always feel like it's not enough, and I always have to push myself. And I don't understand, why it's like that. No, actually, Debbie, our new landlord, he's terrible with like fixing things. I even had to call the city, and so they went around, they fixed some things in the building, a couple things in our places, but they didn't finish the job. I have to call the city again. How bad did I hit my head? I hit my head so hard that Gunner said it sounded like a gunshot. It would be like if somebody took a 2x4 and like whacked you on the head with it, right on the top of my head. Actually, you know what? Right when the symptoms came back, you know what I did? I was getting something from under this desk and I clonked my head on the edge of the desk, but just so lightly, just like that. And I thought, oh no. And then I thought, well, it wasn't that bad. I mean, what could it really do? But actually, it was after that it started coming back. No, I didn't get any kind of scan. I tried to get help. I went several times to the doctors. I was like, this isn't normal. And they were like, well, unless you've had a vacation, blah, 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 so then I had to go to the States. But it's not gone. And it could be because I hit my head on here, on the little lip of my desk, like just leaning down and coming up. I don't know. I'm just clumsy, I guess. And this never happened to me before. I mean, I've hit my head on my chandelier like tons of times. But anyway, maybe it was because I hit it again. Anyway, it seems to be getting better, but it's I've come to like dread it. Like as soon as I get this type of feeling, I'm like, oh no, it's coming again, And I know that it's gonna, it's gonna kick in. Like I start to feel it simmering and I'm like, oh, why, No, of course I didn't, Patrick. I'm not an idiot. That's the last thing I was gonna do was volunteer for that shit. God. I just had to be careful about what I said here on YouTube, so I couldn't say it outright, but no, of course not. I'm just watching now. I've got people on Facebook. I don't even like them. I just keep them on there to like wait and see what happens to them, Of course not, Patrick. Man, I knew this was coming. I talked about this like years ago on the radio, on here. I made videos. They took them all down. My Bill Gates video, they took it down in 2017. I told you guys exactly what was going to happen. It's still on BitChute, but they took it down. Here, not on BitChute, but I got tired of BitChute. What was the other thing? Oh my God. You want to talk about the tariffs? Oh yeah, I had totally being censored by YouTube. And you guys want to know something funny? Like I never make any money on here, right? You know this? Well, yeah, and that's thank you so much. Who was that? Matt? Wait, who was that? Murdy, thank you so much. Bless your heart. Thank you. Thanks for the super chat. It popped something up here. I'm not sure how to what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to press that? Oh no. Okay. So okay, wait. So let me tell you what happened. Where was I? Hold on a second. That super chat. Now I'm okay. So yeah, so like I never make any money on here, right? And I was telling you guys that. And then in December when I was doing Vlogmas every day and I was talking about the postal strike, I guess the algorithm started liking me again. But there's something wrong with my channel. Thank you, Pam. There's something wrong with my channel. Like people will get unsubscribed. And I have like 4 channels. I only use this one. And the others they're just dead in the water. Like I don't even post and still like now and then you get a subscriber, it goes in this direction, right? Even if it's slow. This channel since like a few years, I think it was really in 2020 and that started happening. The subscriber count goes in reverse like all the time. I think I was up to 108,000 subscribers at one point. I'm back to 103. It's been going in reverse for years. And then all of a sudden in December, when I was posting about the postal strike, for the first time in years, I actually got views and my subscriber count went up. I got 249 subscribers that month. That has not happened in years. And I made like $250, which doesn't happen. So that was really weird, but I think that occasionally when the content is really good. Yeah, see, Mike got unsubscribed without his consent. Yeah, that happens to everybody. Thank you. M9, thank you. But yeah, it's like occasionally something that I put out, it goes a bit viral in spite of all of YouTube's efforts, and I get some views and whatever else, you know. And then as soon as that went away, like it started going in reverse and with a vengeance. Like they started like unsubscribing, and I went down like 1,000 subscribers already. But it's like whatever. I'm so over it. You know, I have a new hustle. You know, so as far as like earnings go, it doesn't really matter, and so the views don't really matter either because all that matters is you guys at this point. You know, not to say that that's not discouraging, getting on the wrong side of all that. But yeah, I mean, I had to move on, and I did, right? But yeah, it was really weird for December. All of a sudden, it was crazy because not a lot of people were talking about the postal strike, and I was feeling very passionate about it. So maybe that's why. But I can't keep that level of intensity up like long term. No, my subscribers are not mostly Canadians. They're mostly, well, last time I checked, it's like 80% or 85% Americans. I mean, it could have been that there were some Canadians that got on board at that time. I'm not really sure. No, I don't have Cash App. Like I swear I am too old to like get involved in all those kind of things. I have Patreon, you know, so I would tell people like if you want to donate, you know, to help keep me afloat, donate on Patreon. But can I be honest with you about Patreon? Like when my earnings first started going down, and this was like around maybe it was 2017 or something, or 2016, and I asked people, and they were donating to me. And you guys remember when I went down to Mexico and I got my teeth done? Um, and I also got the PRP treatment on my skin, and I made videos about it to show you guys like that yeah, it's a good clinic, and this is what I do for my skin because at the time that's what I was kind of into, derma rolling, and yeah. And I tried this ultrasound treatment on my stomach because I always have this loose skin. And I think that what happened was when people donate to you, then they kind of feel like they have a say in how you spend your money. And I think they didn't like the fact that I spent it on some aesthetic treatments. That's a very small portion of like my expenditures in life in general. But I kind of got the feeling that like because they gave me the money, now what do you want me to do with it? Just pay my rent with it? I mean, life is about living a little. It's not only about just paying your rent and your food. So I'd rather not take people's donations because I don't want to be accountable to anybody. You know, if somebody wants to donate, you can donate. If you like what I do and you want to support me, do that. But then don't expect that now that you gave me something, you have a right to tell me what to do with it. And I've always been like that. And that's why with boyfriends, like I never liked when they start giving me stuff and paying for things or whatever, because I always feel like you expect something in return, you know? And so I saw that and I was like, wow, okay, I guess they really didn't like that I got PRP. But that was me taking care of myself, you know? And it's ironic too, because if I show up here looking like shit, people will say, oh, Sonia, you're looking old, you know what I'm saying? But if I do something about it, they don't like it either, you know? So I have to just do my own thing and you know, not rely on donations or whatever. I can't stand the feeling of like somebody else having a say over what I do and whatever, you know? So actually, not a lot of people donate on Patreon. I don't really push the Patreon. I kind of just have it there. And I used to mention like, oh, you can support me there, patreon.com/thetruthergirls. And mostly what I can do on there is a post the videos. So you get notified, you know, when I go live or whatever, because a lot of times people don't get notified on YouTube. But yeah, okay, so you want to talk a little bit about this business with the states? I can't even believe. Yeah, Pam, self-care is necessary. You know, we all do it in different ways. And I don't spend time, or like I don't spend money on creams and getting my nails done, but now and then I will invest in a skin treatment because it really will give you a lot of mileage for your buck. To me, it's an investment. Yeah. Well, anyway, Cajun. Yeah, that's actually, speaking of Cajun, do you live in Louisiana? Because okay, I was telling, wait, I'm all over the place. I want to talk about the States, but I was telling you that like I'm having this problem since I hit my head. Maybe I'm susceptible to burnout now. I don't know what's wrong with me. But I was thinking I really need a vacation, and Lara says she's going to come take over for a few days. So she told me the days, and it's like I got to fit it in those days, and she can only be here for like 4 days. So I can go somewhere like just at that time. Do you really? Patrick, you live in New Orleans? No shit. Well, okay. So at first I was like, oh, maybe we'll go to Florida, for like 5 days. It's pretty cheap. Gunner still counts as a child. And then I was like, wait a minute, it's February. It was cold in April. It's going to be really cold in February in Florida. I want to like go in the pool. And then, Orlando, it's like, it's very touristy. There's no beach. And then it's like, well, there's Cuba, which is pretty cheap also, and you get all your food. But man, I tell you the truth, like when I went to Cuba, I was bored because it's like I felt like I was in rehab. Like you're just in this compound, you can swim, you can eat, you can drink, which you don't usually do in rehab, but you know what I'm saying? It's like it's kind you just feel so contained, and there's like no media, and it's so boring. So I didn't really want to go to Cuba. And there's Mexico, but we've been there a lot. And if I do go there, I'll get the PRP again. Uh, but I don't know, that's getting more expensive, right? Um, and then Gunnar was saying he wants to go to the deep south. And I was like, well, what about Louisiana? Because I think I'd love to see New Orleans. It sounds really cool. And we could probably like pop down there for a few days. It is going to cost like twice as much as Florida, though. Um, but I don't know. Maybe it's worth it. You do live in Louisiana? Oh, that's cool. Are you near New Orleans? I just really like the history. I like to see old historical buildings. Gunner's not so much into that. Of course, now he's had one of his knees fixed, so that's better because before he had trouble walking. So I think that's something to keep in mind too. Lafayette, okay. So yeah, we're trying to figure out if we want to go somewhere. I need to go somewhere and I have to figure something out. So there's sell off vacations where it's kind of like last minute. Okay. Oh, 2 hours. Yeah, that's kind of far still. So sell off vacations, like they have really good prices. So Las Vegas is super cheap. I've never been there. I don't know if I want to go there. And here's the problem though. Yeah, Gunner's gonna get his other knee fixed, yeah, in a few months. Um, so the other problem is Gunner is freaking complaining about everything. He's like, if we go on vacation, I want to go to a gun store. I don't want to swim. He's already like being a lightweight, and we haven't even gone anywhere yet, you know? So I'm already feeling like a little bit daunted. Gold Coast by Alabama? Florabama? Is there a beach? New Mexico? Oh no, I haven't been to New Mexico. I've been to Arizona. I've been through Nevada. I do kind of want to go to Las Vegas at some point, but I don't know. What I really want is the ocean. I just want to go in the ocean. I don't, and I like history. So Las Vegas kind of has that because it has all that like mid-century modern type stuff, that 50s history. Hold on, let me just check my battery. The Gulf of America. Okay, my battery's still good. So, I don't know what you guys recommend where I can like get a little beach in. I guess Florida is good for beach. What's the name of like that town that's like way at the bottom of the panhandle? I can't remember the name for some reason. Oh, Hawaii, yeah, but it's too expensive and it's too far. It's got to be something quick, you know. Yeah, Pam, I feel like I need a break because I literally like just work 7 days a week. Like Key West, that's it. Yeah, Key West. It's probably warm down there. Anyway, I need a break. Floribama? Do they have beaches in Floribama? Oh, you mean to say you had a TBI? It changed it to Tbilisi, which is like some town somewhere in somewhere in like the Russian Empire or something. Yeah, maybe I had a TBI. I don't know, but it's like it's kind of scary because I'm a workaholic and it's like now I can't even like work as much as I want and be a nice person, you know. Palm Springs. Hmm. Well, they didn't have Palm Springs on sell-off vacations. Oh, Louisiana has beaches? Well, that's cool. Creole Nature Trail. See, what I really like about Louisiana is it has so much history. Oh, thank you so much, Murdy. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. Okay, I never heard of Floribama before. Never been to Alabama. I'd love to see all those haunted plantation mansions in like South Carolina and stuff. I love history. Yeah, I was going to tell you about the tariffs. I know. Okay, you can help me figure out where I should go on vacation though. Grand Isle Beach. 2 hours south of New Orleans. Okay, that's cool. Well, I'm trying to figure something out that's in the budget, you know. Um, again, yeah, I just want to get in the water. No, I don't want to go to California. I do love it. I've been there a lot before. Hi, Blue Flyer. I love you too. Thanks for popping in. Pacific Northwest. Yeah, but it's cold right now. Well, I got to figure it out, but I'm gonna have to figure something out because I need a break, and I feel bad to leave Aaron behind, and I kind of don't even want Gunner with me to really get a break. I mean, I'm gonna bring him with me. I'm still have to deal with all his stuff. If he doesn't cooperate, I'm gonna be so mad. Vegas? I don't know. It's so like a city. Even Gunner's gonna complain. I don't want to be in the city. New Orleans sounds cool because it's super old, and I want to see all those haunted houses and stuff. You know, well, you know, the old ones, French Quarter and stuff. Okay. Oh yes. I don't know that you want to get in the water in Louisiana. That's right. You guys have alligators. I don't want to get eaten by an alligator. I would love to see all that about the history of New Orleans. That would be great. I'm sure I would love it. Gunner is complaining already. He's telling me, oh, well, I want to go to a gun shop and I want to go to a shooting range. My God. Your old mother's having like a fucking nervous breakdown and you want to go to a shooting range? And he's like, oh, it's because we never go anywhere. We only go once a year. So it's a really big deal. We got to make it count. I'm trying to tell him, like, it's not going to be the last time. I could drive over the border to Vermont so he can go to a shooting range. No, I know. I was going to tell you. Thank you for reminding me, Matt. I did want to get to that. Okay. The tariffs. Well, I think that the whole like fentanyl excuse is complete bullshit, first of all. And I know that Trump wants to bring manufacturing back to the United States, and I understand that. I'm on board with that. And I'd like us to bring it back to Canada too and be less dependent. But I don't think this is a way to go about it. I think that it's going to cause a lot of inflation on both sides, and it's the people are just going to suffer. And I don't think that just by like restricting like the small amount of say automotive imports that they have from Canada, that all of a sudden the American, you know, motor like companies, the car makers are just going to suddenly rebuild their plants and hire people, and we're going to go back to the golden age. I don't think that's going to happen. What I think is more likely to happen, because the tariffs are, he wants 25% on Canada and 25% on Mexico, 10% on China. Now, imports from China are super cheap to begin with. They're like ridiculously cheap. And most of the cost of importing from China is the shipping, and the tariff is on the cost of goods. So you mean to say that you're going to punish China, or you're going to punish with a 10% tax on a tariff on the cost of goods, which is super cheap? So unless like I'm missing something here, I think that probably the result would be more stuff from China and other places. Because why is it only Canada and Mexico and China? You know, there's a lot of other places that are manufacturing a ton of stuff. And I guess people are just going to buy from them, like Bangladesh, maybe, you know? And for the food, I mean, I think that, well, Canada brings in a lot of produce because we don't have the kind of weather you guys have. So that I don't know, can we replace it with local? I don't know. I think that back in the day, like in the 60s and whatever, they used to grow more stuff, and I know that it was a time where like young people, like students, would go and work on the farms in the summer, and that doesn't happen anymore. Now they like can't get Canadians to go and do that, and they'll hire like temporary workers from South America or Mexico or something like that. I don't think that we produce as much produce because we have to do it mostly in greenhouses, you know? So I don't think we're going to be able to just replace our produce. I think that the grocery stores are going to be paying more, and they're just going to put the price of everything up. I just think that, yeah, that's the main effect this is going to have. So the fentanyl issue, apparently the fentanyl does not come from Canada. And I guess like I've heard of it getting mailed in from China or somewhere. Yeah, China basically. Well, historically, what's happened when they came after one drug is that the dealers, the traffickers, whatever, they find a way to replace it with another one that goes under the radar, like these research chemicals. So that's how carfentanil came into the picture. Well, that's how fentanyl, I think, also originally, because they're looking for heroin, and so then, well, no, wait, fentanyl was already like okay. So when carfentanil, it was under the radar, so they could bring it in as a research chemical and turn it into drugs over here. So my guess is they would probably find another way, because that's what happened with the cocaine production in South America. They kept banning all the chemicals that they used to make it, like acetone or whatever. And as they banned them, they would just replace them with something else that's even more toxic, and it never stopped. It never stopped the production. The war on drugs never stopped people from like doing heroin and fentanyl. It never stopped anything. I mean, let's not forget, originally it's usually they get some painkillers from the doctor, and that's how it all gets started. I mean, those things they're pretty dangerous. I don't know why. I guess they were handing out like oxycodone and OxyContin, and they got the population involved with very dangerous drugs. And when and then they said, oh, well, we can't have the doctors prescribing this, and they cut all these people off. And then they're in the street looking for street drugs. I was thinking, put them all on methadone. You know, you don't have a fucking trade war. Just put them all on the Suboxone or something. I don't know. Maybe that wouldn't work because they don't want it or whatever. But the war on drugs has never worked. So is this an extension of the war on drugs? I think that's just a crappy excuse, because I don't think it's about that at all. That's just the way that he could get this in, by saying it was a national security issue, you know, but it's bullshit. Because their fentanyl is not coming from Canada. It's got nothing to do with it. I mean, there's hardly any. Okay, so we all agree it's bullshit. It has nothing to do with drugs. You think the cartels are going to be like, oh, fuck, they're imposing a 25% tariff now, so let's stop sending our fentanyl in. They're not imposing a 25% tariff on the fentanyl. Doesn't make any sense. From what last I understood, they had like tunnels, and they're going under the border, and they're bringing in, and they're not paying any duty whatsoever. Nobody even is supposed to know that it's coming through. So why would, I mean, really, like, how ridiculous is this? Why would imposing a 25% tariff on Canadian lumber stop the cartels from using their tunnels to bring their fentanyl into America? Does that make any sense? No, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's ridiculous. I mean, I understand he's just using that as an excuse. I don't believe it for 1 second that that's the reason. It's absurd. It's about just about as absurd as, standing on dots. You know what I'm saying? It's like magical thinking. Um, no, I think that he has this idea that if people can't get it from like, if they can't bring the imports in, or it's prohibitively expensive, they're going to start manufacturing in the United States. I'm not really sure that's going to happen. Like I said, probably they're just going to bring it in from somewhere else. Probably China's just going to benefit 10%. Who cares? The stuff was cheap to begin with, right? I mean, I've seen the breakdown. Like, I remember the breakdown of a Barbie doll, and the Barbie doll cost like $1.50, and then the rest was all like other kinds of cost, with a lot of, like, I think maybe 80% of it was the shipping cost. So you're gonna what, put 10% tariff on the $1.50 for the Barbie doll, and that's gonna wait. Oh my god, somebody's trolling me. Okay, I'm not even gonna get into it. So you're gonna put a 10% tariff on that $1.50 Barbie doll, and that's gonna solve the problem? Make it make sense, you guys. Make it make sense. It's not making any sense to me right now. I'm worried. Like, honestly, I'm thinking, um, bye. Into the gorge of eternal peril you go. Thank you. Um, yeah, make the tariffs make sense. Make it make sense. Yeah, it's to break the economy. It almost seems like. I don't know, man. I just feel like, damn it, why do we have to be going through such a rough economic time? Like, we just went through the pandemic and all the damage that that did, and now they're going to do this, and like, people aren't even going to be able to feed themselves. Yeah, you will own nothing and be happy. But I think in that case, they didn't own anything, but they were renting everything. What, are you renting your food too? Yeah, it doesn't look good. It does look a bit like World Economic Forum or what. And Elon Musk is the head of, what is that? Department of Governmental Efficiency. It's giving like 1984 vibes, to be honest. Well, we're gonna see. I mean, either he's like a radical visionary, and what looks nuts to all of us is gonna like have a wonderful effect, and they're gonna bring back manufacturing to America, or he's just as crazy as people were saying. But I mean, honestly, like, uh, Joe Biden and the Democrats, it wasn't it wasn't very good either. We're gonna see. I'm not I think that it's gonna burn us, first of all, Canadians. Hi, Mama Rages. You know, Elon Musk, he's one of those guys, like, he really portrays himself as the good guy. Um, buying Twitter and like bringing back free speech and everything, but you can't trust any of these people. Yeah, I did hear about that. All the small business information was given to Elon Musk. Yeah, I read about that. So he gets I'm not sure, like, I don't remember the whole thing, but I do remember that, like, he has access to all this stuff. And yeah, they're all minions of Satan, basically. Mama Rages. Yeah, I mean, let's not forget he was there the first time around, and he never spoke up against what was done. And I'm afraid to even mention. And he called himself the father of the V, and he was there for all that. He never spoke out. He has never ever, even to this date, as far as I know, he's never spoken out about any of the deception or any of the damage, the fallout. Have you heard him say anything? I haven't heard it. I'm just so done sometimes. I'm just like, these people are, yeah, he was exactly buddies with Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, seriously. How can people think that he's going to be their savior? He's one of them, obviously. No, he hasn't, and he hasn't spoken out. He's never said anything. He hasn't offered to like make reparations to people that were damaged or nothing. So, you know, he hasn't walked the walk. That's for sure. He hasn't even talked the talk in that department. I mean, and Trudeau, we weren't happy with Trudeau, but I'm I'm worried about Pierre Poilievre too and what he's going to do. Can you imagine the combined effect of the tariffs plus conservative cuts? The tariffs going to make everything expensive, and then the cuts is going to cut all the social programs, like, all the it's always affecting the most needy people first. It's going to be tough times. Diddy is in the hospital for what? I didn't hear about that one. You don't know? Can you Google it? Google it for me. Oh, man. I kind of feel like what happened in 2020, it was the thing that we'd all kind of been like expecting to happen. And it finally did. And ever since then, I felt like, well, my work here is done. I tried to tell them. And ever since then, I just felt like, okay, I'm not going to focus on this anymore because I can see that they're obviously trying to screw us every way they can. I would like to think that life will get better, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen, not on a large scale. So I'm just hustling here, trying to take care of myself. So I don't want to be poor in this situation. Realize? Because that would suck. Oh, he was taken to the hospital for knee problems. Big deal. Maybe somebody like smashed him in the knee with a bat or something. Big deal. Oh, you think he's hiding in the hospital? Yeah, you felt that way too. No, I mean, I'm getting older. I don't want to spend the last few years of my life obsessing about the evil government. I mean, but I'll tell you though, I don't trust any of them. I mean, why would I? They're all bad. Who knows what Polyev is going to do. Oh, Murdy, thank you so much. He sent me a super chat. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Yeah. Well, Jesus is coming back soon. It's possible. When you the story about the fatal wound that was healed. Remember when he got almost shot in the ear? Okay, it wasn't a fatal wound, but I was like, oh man, like I hope that's not a sign. And making the image speak, and it's like, how would they know back then that we'd have the technology where you'd be able to see like an image speaking, because that's what we're doing right now, like all that video technology is an image speaking. Let's wait and see what happens. Do I write any songs lately? Nah. I just work on the thrifting. Yeah, well, the thrifting, like restoring things, and I guess that's where I express my creativity these days. I feel like, when you live under like a lot of stress day to day, it does kind of crush your sense of humor a bit. And I remember this happened like a few years ago, and I was thinking, something wrong with me. I've changed. I'm not funny anymore. And then I went to Cuba with Jana and I realized that it was only the stress. Because then when I was in Cuba, like it was like I was myself again. But sometimes like when you're in this kind of like stressful, like work, and it's the probably the caregiving. I like, okay, going back to this, what I was telling you before, I don't know what it is that burns me out. I don't think it's Aaron. I don't think it's Aaron, other than the fact that like I'd like to maybe leave the city occasionally, like for the weekend, and it's like a whole big thing. But I don't think dealing with Aaron burns me out. It could be Poshmark. Maybe I'm working too hard. I think maybe more likely Gunner's behavior. It's just really hard for me to take. I think that that's probably the most stressful thing. Just the fact that like it, as much as he's grown in some ways with his talents and stuff like that, and yet he's still not keeping like a basic routine. Like I still can't get him to go to bed and get up, and hygiene and like even feeding him is difficult. Like he's just extremely picky isn't even the word. It's like beyond, and then I'll go to lengths to like get him things he likes and try to cook for him and make things he likes, and then he'll find something that he doesn't like and he won't eat it. That kind of stuff is discouraging. And then I'll have like breakdowns all the time, and I see him like miserable. Like he's not in school. He got kicked out of that place already because for not attending. Um, he's not working. He's really not doing much. I try to encourage him. I tell him like just play your guitar because that's what you're good at, and that's probably what you should be doing with your life. But I think he looks at his friends and they're in school. They're with so many people. They're taking like up to 10 classes, and they're also active. Like they'll go to school and then they'll take the bus across the city on their lunch break and go rock climbing, indoors. And then they'll do things on the weekend. And Gunnar has a very, very narrow life. Mostly he's like just in this apartment, which I find terrible for like a young person. Like that his world is just these four walls. I mean, for him, like if his friends show up and visit, that's a highlight. If he can go to the restaurant with his friend, it's a highlight. I try to get him to come on errands with me, like to Costco or to do stuff like that, just to so he can leave the house. But what kind of a life is that? He's had girlfriends before. But what kind of a life is that? You have no commitment to anything or anyone outside the house. It's like you just have like it's like being in quarantine. I think my son lives like the way people did when we were on lockdown. I can't imagine. He gets really frustrated with himself. He's restless too. Yeah, because he's so bored. Like all he can do is like go on the PlayStation and talk to his friends or talk to them on the phone or scroll his phone or play guitar is probably the most productive thing he does. He doesn't go to school, he doesn't work, he doesn't go to any kind of activities. I stopped signing him up for things because he would ask me to sign up, um, and then he just wouldn't go. So I said, "Listen, I'm tired of wasting my money. I'm not signing you up anymore." Like he has it in his head that it's going to be great, but then as soon as something isn't the way he wants, he just doesn't want to go. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like the people. I don't like the teacher. Or something went wrong, and that's it. Everything is just like he has no tolerance. Oh yeah, absolutely demand avoidance. 100%. Of course. So even going to bed is a demand. Even if he wants to go to bed, he'll like pace in the living room. And I think what stresses me out is the moaning, like, the moaning and these like sounds that he makes when he's like in that state of mind. It's like I feel like I'm living with somebody who has like psychiatric problems, and I'm supposed to manage this, but I can't live my life. Like I can't go to bed because he's pacing and moaning and maybe slamming the cupboards. Like if I went to bed at 2 and he's hungry at 4, but for him, like feeding himself is a demand, and it shouldn't be. I mean, it's not like he doesn't know how to use the toaster or how to make ramen. I keep I keep it stocked with easy things to make. But he says he wants to, but he feels like he can't. So then he gets really, really hungry, and then I hear him like banging around and moaning, and then I'll wake up, and then I have to cook for him, and then I won't be asleep for like a few more hours, you know. Um, and I'm very open with him about it. I'm like, listen, we've taken you to the doctor. I don't like the drugs that they suggested for you. I'm scared of them. So, and I don't really think that any of that's going to solve the problem. But if I'm scared of side effects, would you like me to bring you to the hospital and you can stay inpatient for a time, and they can medicate you? And if something goes wrong, it's on their watch. I can't deal with this. I can't deal with God knows what kind of side effects he might have. I can't deal with it. No, 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 not anymore. I'm fucking old and I'm so done. You know? Mama Rogers, yes, he has. He has. He did that actually quite a lot, and then he stopped because it wasn't helping. At first, it seemed like it was helping, like in the beginning. But after a while, it was just contributing to him vegetating, you know, because he has really bad executive functions. Like he doesn't know, he can't make heads or tails out of whatever it is he wants to do. He has this idea he wants to do something, but immediately he's completely overwhelmed. He can't even like make any sense of it. He needs somebody to coach him and facilitate everything, but he's also like resistant to being told what to do. Now, when we're on vacation, we don't have this problem at all. You know why? Because I'm 24 hours a day with him. He is structured by me from morning to night. And you guys see us. He goes to bed on time. He gets up. He comes with me all day. We don't really have any problems. But that's when I'm not working. I don't have to take care of anybody else. So he has me all to himself. But I can't do that every day when we're here. I can't do that. You know? And also because it's new and it's, you know, it's stimulating and we're doing fun things all the time. So he's calm and he's cooperating with me doing all these things. But then when it comes to like for him to have some responsibility or like to actually attend school, or like it's been a complete flop, you know. I'm tired. Honestly, I'm tired. Who takes care of me? The good Lord. And that's about it. No, I feel like God takes care of me. I've been doing this for 18 years with Gunner. Oh my God, Joel. God, talk about a psychic vampire. Ugh, most draining person in the world. Fucking walking drama factory. The last time Joel called me and said, I think I have pneumonia. And I said, he says, do you know a number that I could call? I was like, honestly, if you think you have fucking pneumonia, go to the hospital. You know what number you call? 911. What are you calling me for? What do you think I'm going to do? What, 811 or 911? You know those numbers. He's calling me to ask me who he can talk to about his pneumonia. I said, go to the hospital. Don't be an idiot. And he's like, oh, I think I'm going to make it through the night. Like he can hardly breathe, but he doesn't want to go now because he doesn't want to sit in the emergency all night. So I was like, well, I think you should go tonight. Anyway, apparently he ended up going, but he had to be taken there by ambulance. And he didn't even have the decency to like call me back after and say, oh, just to let you know I'm okay. I had to message his brother-in-law on Facebook. Hey, what's going on with Joel? And he was like, oh, well, yeah, he was in the hospital for a bit for pneumonia. I mean, really. But you know what happened with Joel? He abused me so much that this is what my heart did. It closed. It closed. Like literally. Thank you, Murdy. Thank you so much again. Bless your heart. You gave me another super chat. Thank you. Like when you have a woman that's in an abusive relationship and she keeps letting the guy back in over and over. Why? Because he's in her heart. As much as he's rotten, there's a part of her that she has a soft spot for him. And she keeps thinking, well, maybe he's going to change, or how can I turn him away when he's in this situation or whatever. And it was like that for me with Joel for a really long time. And then he fucked me. I'm sorry, not fucked me. He fucked me over so bad that the door of my heart slammed shut. And from that day, it was like, I don't care if you live or die. I swear to God. Like, I literally have no feeling for him. If somebody said to me, Joel died, I'd be like, oh, well, finally. Yeah. I'm surprised he made it this long. I mean, really, and it was just such a complete, like a switch. It took so many years. I think it was 10 years of drama with him. I can't even believe the crap that I put up with. No, he's not my brother. I have a brother, but he's completely normal. Very nice person. No, he was my ex-boyfriend. Joel. I dated Joel. I started seeing him in 1999. And I lived with him only for a few months. I think it was only like 3 months. And then I moved in with some girls from the church. Because at that time I just got baptized. And I decided to move in with the girls from the church and like move out of Joel's apartment. And actually, I had been giving him money to pay the electricity. He was taking my money and then he was actually buying drugs with it. I mean, I'm like, should I say that word? Maybe they're going to demonetize me. I don't make any money anyway, so I'll say it. He went and he was buying like pot or something. I don't know. And then the electricity got shut off. I was already out of there. But all those months, well, it was actually, I must have moved in with him in the summer. I know we were there July. And I moved out like around November. So it was a few months. And all that time, he was taking my money and buying drugs with it instead of paying the electricity. So then I moved out to live with the girls from my church. But I was still visiting him, and they turned off the freaking power. And you know what he did? He turned it on himself because there was a box and they just turned it off. And he went and turned it on. So then they gave him like $1,000 fine for that. And what kind of an idiot would do that, right? Oh, he was a taker. Absolutely. Joel was so cheap. Okay, besides the fact that he borrowed money from me all the time, every month. But I need it for this. No. He would pay his rent to me. Then he would borrow the money, which is like, I could explain how that happened. But anyway, he would eat my food, smoke all my cigarettes. Yeah, it was about 29. Wait, no, 28. He would smoke my cigarettes, eat my food, sponge off me, whatever. He always had an excuse. And this one time we had to take a taxi back to my place. And I asked him to pay the taxi. And I said I would give him the money when I got upstairs. He didn't even want to do that. He had the money in his wallet. He didn't even want to like lend me the money from the time it would take to pay the taxi to get upstairs so I could pay him back. Can you believe how fucking cheap this guy was? What was I doing with him? What I was doing with him was that I had a low self-esteem. And I didn't want to be alone. But I'm a very different person now. But at the time, I really just didn't want to be alone. And Joel, as much as he's a complete shithead, he's also a very likable person. You guys know, those of you who've seen his video, he's very charismatic. He's very funny. He's very smart. Complete, like, POS, though, other than that. Very, like, in some ways, he could turn on the charm. And he was really funny, and funny goes a long way with me. But he had no ability to have any empathy. He was just a taker all the time. But I just didn't want to be alone, And he had this horrible health problem. He has chronic pancreatitis, so he was in a lot of pain. And he kept going to the doctors, and they kept giving him the runaround. They wouldn't really take him seriously. You have ulcers, blah, blah. They put him on like ulcer medications. But the pain was really bad, and I could see that it was real. So he kept taking all these painkillers. And I was like, well, it's because he's in pain. If he wasn't in this pain, maybe he wouldn't take them. And then maybe he would be more normal. Because when I met him, he was kind of normal. Like he wasn't doing all these drugs and he used to work and stuff. I mean, maybe not when I met him, but he had worked before. And he was just so fun. He was very funny. No, thanks, Trish. But yeah, like that quickly changed, like he quickly like started doing drugs about 6 months into our relationship, and I quickly moved out. But that wasn't the end of it. Oh, he had prostate problems too. I know he did. Yeah. But the pain was the pancreatitis. He just had like a weak constitution. He had like health problems all the time. So I felt bad that he was in this pain. And why did I keep, okay, he would say to me that he was going to rehab. So so what happened was I moved out, I moved in with the girls from the church. The girls from the church, like they all eventually got married and moved away. So I was starting to bring in roommates that I was like finding myself. And I was renting out all these rooms. And then at one point, like Joel had been living with his cousin, but we were kind of back together. I was visiting, and then at some point the cousin left, and then he left Joel the apartment. Joel had this apartment, and he couldn't handle it, and he ended up back in my place, and I took him in. So he was back in my life, and well, this continued. So then he was living in my apartment. Oh my God, the stuff that he did, I probably can't even tell you here. Okay, I've told you a lot of things, but I'm like, the little voice in my head is like, okay, Sonia, stop. Don't. I feel bad for my roommates. Let's just put it that way. He was doing drugs. Well, you guys know, you saw him in the videos. So he was doing IV drugs. I was not, I wasn't doing any drugs, but he was, and I was just putting up with it. And I got this okay, I'll tell you, I got this little roommate, Becky from Toronto. She was like 18 years old. She's like, yeah, I'm Becca. I'm like, this is the best. Like, she's this accent, Toronto or whatever. And the first day that she moved in, okay, we had a dog. And Joel he'd been doing drugs, and he had all these syringes, and he put them in the fucking kitchen garbage. And Becky had just moved in, and the dog went in the garbage. And the first day that Becky was there, like the dog pulled all these syringes all over the kitchen floor. I was just like, oh my God. So, I mean, eventually I was trying to throw him out, and he wouldn't stay gone. Eventually it escalated. I had to get a restraining order. He even came back to my house. He didn't drink. There was no alcohol. The pain started first, and then he was taking the painkillers. But then, as you see, he was doing more than he should with the painkillers, actually other drugs too. But it was all just painkiller stuff. Apparently it's genetic. So it wasn't from the painkillers or the opioids or whatever. I ended up getting a restraining order. It's crazy too, because I just found like that old paperwork from like the court and whatever. And I was cleaning out some papers. And I was like, oh my God. And I had a new roommate at this point. And even though there was a restraining order, I could tell you what happened. Like he would hurt him. He would try to harm himself. And I was like trying to stop him. And he fought me with a knife in his hand. And I ended up with a knife in my hand. And I still have a scar. You probably can't see it, but I ended up with a knife in my hand. And I went to the emergency, and they sewed it up, and they were like telling me like, you need to get away from him, because women that come in with this kind of injury, and the next time they come back to the hospital, it's in a body bag. And I was like, yeah, well, well, then the next time it happened again, but it involved a much bigger knife. And I like screamed in the hallway for my neighbors to help me. I was like, help, help. Somebody called the police, and they came. And that time I pressed charges and got a restraining order. I sent them to jail. And even after that, he came back to my place, and he was in front of my door, completely wasted, and he had a big circle on his forehead. It was like 4 a.m. Again, I had roommates, and Joel is knocking at my door. And at this point, I don't want him in at all. And I told him, go away. I'm not letting you in. And I told him, I'm going to call the police. And I picked up the phone, and I'm dialing 911. I'm like, "Allo, la police." And I'm talking to them on the phone, and he's right there. And I'm like, "Joel, I'm talking to the cops right now." And this fucking idiot's still standing there. He's like, "Sonia, I got hit by a car. I just need to come in. I got hit by a car." And he's got a big circle here, like he hit his head. I was like, "I don't care if you got hit by a fucking Mack truck. You're not coming in." I'm calling the police. I called the police, and he stayed so long that when he came, the police got him. You know, he finally went down the stairs. He was trying to run away, and they nailed him, and he had some drugs on him. So he went. I didn't argue with him. I just called the police. Yeah. So he got busted, and he went to jail again. So then I didn't talk to him after that for a long time. I remember the last time that I tried, like, how I actually got him out of my house, because even after some of the stuff had happened, I'd let him back in, and he was like asking me for money, and I was like, "Okay, fine, I will give you this money if you promise to leave and not come back. I will give you back your rent money, but you can't come back, and you have to give me the key." And he's like, "Yeah, okay, sure, I'll go stay with Jamie." And he took that money and went to Jamie's, and then he was calling me and calling me. He was blowing up my phone. He left so many messages. He thought I would take him back. And I was like, "No, it's not happening." So when the cops came, I played those recordings. I mean, there was like probably 100 of them. And I was like, I have a restraining order, and he's harassing me. He will not leave me alone. So he did go to jail that time. And then, like, after that, luckily I did get away from him. And then I met Aaron, and I moved in here. And it was a couple years later when I had Gunner. I was just so alone, and so overwhelmed. Like, my parents ghosted me when I got pregnant. When I had my son, like, they wouldn't, well, my mother wouldn't even talk to me. She was so mad that I was having a baby with Aaron, and nobody ever came over, and I was so alone, and I was having like postpartum depression, actually. So when Joel showed up, and like he was clean at the time, I let him in, I let him come, because I needed help. And that was like the pattern. He would get clean, he would show up. And this was just like as friends at this point. It's not, anything else. He would make himself useful to me. And once his foot was in the door, then he would start after a few months or whatever. And he was so nice when he was clean. Like, in those early days when he was trying to win me back, he could be so nice and so sweet and so charming and so good with my son, and so helpful too. And then once he was entrenched and he was comfortable, he would start his shit again. He would start getting in like a bad mood, and he wouldn't talk. And then he would start going back to the drugs, and then all the drama would kick up. And then I'd have to throw him out again. And like, we just went through this cycle like multiple times. And then I'd had him here once. And then at one point he got an apartment. No, you never knew. I never told anyone. All this time that stuff was going on with Joel. I never said any of the history. Joel was great on camera, and he's a great storyteller, and people really like to listen to him. And I wasn't there to like disparage his character on the videos that he was making, or that I was helping him make. So I just didn't mention any of this. But I mean, this is so many years down the road, truth might as well come out. So it was just a really toxic relationship. And finally he called the youth protection on me because I threw him out, and he was so angry that he called like the youth protection, and he made up a whole bunch of lies about me. And that's when the door of my heart closed, because I was like, oh, you're really gonna like do something like that and put my son in danger. And then after that, it was like, I don't care if you die, seriously. And that was it. I never let him back in again. He showed up at my door once, and he's like, oh, I have a gift for Gunner and blah blah blah. And I was like, get the fuck out of here, I never want to see you again. I said, I'll call the cops again if you show up. I in fact um they I had somebody had advised me to speak to the police and tell them to go see him, and they knew who he was, you know. So I had these two cops come over. They were girls, and I was like, I just want you to talk to him, to tell him like stay away from me. And uh, they did that, and he was so wasted on whatever it was. He went to this place called the Open Door, which was like a sort of day shelter, and apparently he was shooting his mouth off in there, and he was talking about me, and he said, I'll get her back. So someone had heard him saying that, and the next thing I get a call from the DPG that this complaint had been made, and they were like, and they were very serious allegations. Like, it was so bad what he said. So the DPG came over, and I told them, you know, we're involved with the hospital. My son's in the day psychiatry program. You can talk to his psychiatrist. You can talk to our social worker. And everything that he had alleged about me was completely like discredited very easily. And it was a good thing that that happened. You know, it was the best thing, because this had gone on long enough with me and him. And it's really hard to understand, like, why did I do that? Why did I keep letting him in into my life, into my heart? It's hard to really even understand why I would do that, you know. But I see other women that are in these kind of relationships, and I think, yeah, I know it sounds completely crazy from the outside, but when you're living it, you kind of have your reasons, you know. And I think a lot of it is a fear of like being alone, you know. And I think that's what it was. I was vulnerable because I didn't want to be alone, you know. I mean, I think really that's what was at the heart of it. That I didn't feel like when I was dating him, that I didn't feel like I was worthy of a better man. You know, I honestly felt like I was like this, you know, I was 29 years old, and in my mind I was old. And when I was in my 30s and I was in church, I felt like I was an old maid. That nobody would want to marry me because I was over 30. And all these guys in their 30s in the church, they wanted to marry younger women. You know, and I felt like, yeah, I was like damaged goods. And nobody would want me. And so I liked his humor and, you know, some things about him. So I settled for him. And I think that could be what happens, that women just don't want to be alone, and they don't think they could do better. And you know, the thing is, when you don't feel good about yourself, and you don't like yourself and accept yourself, and you know, you have a low self-esteem, other people can sense it. And people who have a healthy self-esteem and who have healthy boundaries and who are psychologically healthy, they don't want to get involved with you. And you know who does? People who are either broken or predatory people. Abusers will know. They know if you have a low self-esteem. They know if you don't feel good about yourself. So if you're wondering, why do I keep attracting losers who are abusing me? It's probably because you don't feel good about yourself and you're projecting that. And so I didn't realize how this works, but I guess that was me, you know? And so I kept attracting like men who didn't treat me well. But Aaron like changed my life. He treats me so well. He loves me. He respects me. I don't have to worry about money with him. He's reliable. I don't have any issues with him, you know? I mean, obviously he has his problems like everybody does, right? But I don't have any of those kind of problems with him. He's been like, I love Aaron. Every day that I see him, the sun still shines in my heart. I keep telling him that, you know, you're handsome, and he's handsome and funny and he's cool and I love him so much, you know? And because of Aaron, I got on the internet and I started making videos and all this kind of stuff. Before, when I met Joel, I had a hard time holding a job. I was like, I was working in a call center with my university degree. I had all this education and I couldn't get a job. Maybe because I'm autistic, it could have something to do with that. And then I was working as a medical secretary and a transcriptionist. I couldn't get along with people around me. I was just like naturally weird, you know? So I had difficulty. And and then I met Aaron, and like I didn't have to do that anymore. I didn't have to work in the office pool anymore, you know? And I recruited Aaron to be my baby daddy right off the bat. I said, you know, I want to have a kid. I want you to be the father. Yeah, the call center was a total grind. I did it for 7 years, and I felt so like exploited and underappreciated, and it was awful. And I got tinnitus in my ear, and I was hearing like a fax machine. So I damaged my ear working there. So I couldn't even really do that anymore. Then I ended up working as a medical secretary and doing transcription. I type really fast, but I got carpal tunnel in my wrist. I was getting like work related injuries. So I was like, what am I going to do? You know? So luckily, Aaron was able to hire me as his caregiver. Yeah, I'm pretty good now. Like, I have like, back then, I had a loser magnet and I didn't see the red flags. But I know that sometimes I did see them, but I was just like, nah, you know. And here was another thing about Joel. He had the most wonderful family. So I grew up with just my two parents and my brother. So we had no family gatherings. We didn't have these big holidays. There was no cousins and grandchildren. It was just us. And Joel came from like this big, like French Canadian and Anglo Canadian family. There was like, I think his mother had like, was it his mother? She had like, there was like 8 brothers and sisters on the mother's side. And his father was actually like born in Scotland. Murdy, thank you so much. Murdy gave me another super chat. Thank you. Appreciate it. So the mother was like French Canadian, but she spoke English. And on the father's side, they were from Scotland, but there was a few of them, you know. He had like a couple of brothers and sisters, but between all of them, like imagine with like the 8 brothers and sisters, and they all had kids, and it was like these huge like gatherings, and it was like this big clan. And I loved his mom. His mom was like the nicest lady. She was so down to earth, you know. Um, and so part of it was I didn't want to lose, you know, also like the relationship that I had developed with them, to be honest, you know. I liked his mom so much. I mean, that, you know, that was part of it. So does that sound crazy? Because with my family, I always felt like I was never good enough, you know. But anyway, I mean, yeah, like you know, if you don't value yourself, you're never gonna like have someone who you know, who treats you right and who values you. You know, amazing thing with Aaron was like we could really respect each other. Like I didn't feel like, you know, he never disrespected me, and he's never like been jealous, and like he's never, you know, questioned me or spied on me or treated me badly. He's a doll. Aaron is wonderful, you know. Kiss and hug to you too, Murdy. It was a rough time, you know, and now I look back and I'm like, man, I was like 28 years old. I thought I was old. How crazy is that, you know? Like if I wasn't married by 25, I felt like I was too old. But you know what? Once I had my son with Aaron, like it changed a lot, you know, because I wasn't like out trying to like find somebody to like have a kid with anymore. Aaron's just such a sweet guy. He's a gentleman. And he's a good father too. But before it was like I felt like I was under pressure to like find somebody, you know. So I was settling for Joel, but he was so abusive. It was horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And now I've had to watch some of my own friends do the same thing and sell themselves short and get stuck with someone who I don't know if they're abusive, like some of their boyfriends have been, but some of them it's just like, wow, you could really do better, but they don't see it, you know. And imagine if I had had kids with Joel. And one time Joel said to me, if we ever have a kid together and you try to leave me and take him with you, like if I was to get custody, he said, I'll take him and you'll never see him again. Can you imagine? What a rotten, evil thing to say. Like, what a psycho, right? What's he doing these days? I don't know, probably rotting in his mother's basement. Nothing good, anyway. So, yeah, basically, I came out of this like really long term abusive relationship. But I found Aaron. So, that's the really good part. And we have Gunner. No, he's not in prison. He's just sponging. He's lived a parasitic lifestyle his whole life. He's been clean off the dope for years. Like probably like 10 years now. But guess what? It didn't really like yes, it took some of the drama out of his life and he did mellow out a bit, but he has never been able to like fend for himself. So he lived with his you know, some relatives for a while and then live with other relatives. Like he's never been able to like get it together. But anyway, there's a story. I wonder if he would watch my videos. Probably not. He knows all this anyway. He knows it's true. I mean, what a rotten thing to do, right? Yeah, it's a good vibe between me and Aaron. Yeah, so I was saying that I feel burnt out and I need a vacation, but I don't think it's Aaron that burns me out. I think it's Gunner's behavior, maybe. I really don't know. I would like to be able to say, okay, I'm going to go to bed at 11 and sleep through the night, get up at 8. And I would like Gunner to like keep a normal bedtime and wake up schedule and like feed himself, you know, and just get out of bed and shower and dress himself by himself and without me having to coach him. And I wish he would like just feed himself. Basically, that would help and keep himself fed so he doesn't have meltdowns all the time. But I feel bad for Gunner. Like, I mean, yes, I'm on the spectrum and he is too, but we're very different. Like he's kind of better with people than I am. Like he's more easygoing. Like I talk too much and apparently I'm like too intense, you know, for some people. Gunner's like easygoing and he's like not an intense person. He's likable, you know. Yeah, he just can't get his shit together though. He's not functional. So I'm still hoping it'll get better. Yeah, one more thing uh before I go. I might as well just leave it at that. I'm gonna come back on here again. I was like developing like a nervousness about coming on here. Um oh, Aaron takes care of me though. He is so sweet. Like he'll do whatever he can. I mean, what I would really need as far as taking care of me goes would be somebody to take care of Gunner. You know, I was never able to get proper childcare from the schools, and I've not been able to find a program that can deal with him now. And he should have been evaluated early. He should have had early intervention, the right kind of intervention, and he never got that. And I think he just developed like, eh, you know, he could have used help, and we really tried. And it's weird because okay, Gunner, it's like 90% of him is really like normal, like as in he's emotionally healthy. He's kind of wise too, like he's very grounded. and I don't have the kind of problem some people do. Like, he's very honest with me, and I don't have to worry about like drugs or whatever, or sneaking out or nothing like that. Like, he never does anything wrong. But then there's just this other little part of him, but that like sabotages his potential, you know, this little dysfunctional part. But the rest of him is like as good as you could want it to be. And then there's just this disabled part that makes it like that he can't do the things he wants to do. I mean, we haven't figured it out. But that's what I would. Does he have ADHD? I don't know. I'm not sure. I think he's just autistic. But he doesn't have very good executive function, so maybe that'll get better as he gets older. But what I could have used was somebody to listen to me when he was small, when I said I think he's autistic, instead of saying, well, we'll wait and see. You know, what I could have used was, yeah, when we went to the Jewish and I said I think he's autistic, and they made it out like I was just a pain in the ass. And they wanted to say he had ADHD with that looks like autism but isn't. They said that. Well, it looks like autism and you haven't evaluated him. How do you know it's not autism? It's because they like to diagnose everyone with ADHD and just give them stimulants, and they forced me to do that too. Like, we had to go through that, and they forced me to keep him in the regular public schools, which was not appropriate for him. Like, they just were resistant, and they're like that with everyone. So I had to do what they told me. Like, I literally had to, or they would have taken me to court. So I had to put him in a public school. I had to take him out of the French school, and I had to put him in English public school. And it never really worked, you know, as you guys know the story. And he was put on a waiting list for therapy when he was 7, and he only got his turn when he was like 13. And it was like a few months. No, no, the public school, it didn't work well at all, because no, he didn't learn social skills. I mean, he has some like naturally, but as far as like his ability to like function in a school and like being in a classroom, that never happened. And he ended up being like manhandled a lot by the teachers. Like, it was really bad. It brought out like it made him aggressive. A lot of restraints and stuff like that. It was really inappropriate. And then I finally, like, I took him out of homeschool, and then I put him in James Ling, and they were better. Like, they didn't restrain him or anything. Like, they were definitely better, but they also couldn't get him to do anything. So I thought he was doing his work there, because they weren't sending anything home, because they had apparently stopped using paper. So they weren't sending stuff home. And I remember saying to this teacher, like, oh, it's great. Like, you know, he's never bringing any work home. He must be doing everything with you guys. And she's like, oh, he never does anything when he's here. I was like, well, what's he doing here all day? So then eventually I was just like, whatever, let's just like make sure he stays in school till the end, so he doesn't like drop out early and sit around the house. But you have access to school now, like, take advantage of it. And he made it through, but he's missing 1 credit for grade 9, and he's missing like more than half of the credits for grade 10, and nothing for grade 11. He has no credits, so he doesn't even have grade 9 completed technically. But I asked them, don't you think maybe he should repeat grade 11? And they're like, well, no, in this case, like, we think he should just like move on with his life. And then they said, oh, you know, they would help him to get into this program, like this day program. But he didn't like it, because Gunnar, I'll be honest, like, he doesn't like to be around people. Like, okay, all his friends are autistic, right? But he regards his autistic friends as like cool autistic people. He doesn't like to be with people that he considers like, oh, it's the sped kids, you know. And he didn't like it, like, being at that school. He didn't like the other people. He was like, they behave really badly. He told me, he's like, oh, they're all stupid, but he meant in the sense like that they weren't cool, you know. That's what he said. He didn't want to be there. He didn't like the teacher. He said the teacher was politically correct, and he was overly touchy. And see, Gunnar makes a lot of jokes, and the teacher would like take them like in a bad way. Like, I'll give you an example, okay? So the janitor said, excuse me for a second, I'll be right back. I just have to go meet my friend in the alley. And Gunnar goes, he'll be right back, and he's going to clean this whole place top to bottom in 5 minutes. Get it? I thought that was a pretty good joke. I don't know what he's doing meeting his friend in the alley, but I guess he really was meeting his friend in the alley. And Gunnar then had to spell out what that joke means because nobody understood. And he's like, because he's gonna smoke crack in the alley. And the teacher got so mad. Everybody was like, oh, how could you say that? But I thought it was a good joke, you know? What does it sound like? I'm gonna meet my friend in the alley for a minute. Anyway, you know, and then the teacher would like give him lectures about what's appropriate and what isn't. You like that joke, kid? I thought it was pretty funny. Gunner's very witty. He's a riot. These people didn't appreciate it. I had to tell him, listen, your sense of humor is very sophisticated. It's very based on absurdity. And some people don't get that. You get it. I thought it was pretty funny. I was like, these people just don't appreciate your sense of humor. But, you know, between the jokes and the fact that he couldn't walk because they were walking from one place to the other all the time, and he couldn't keep up with it. It discouraged him. And then he had his surgery and he didn't go to school for a month. And the teacher is always telling me, Sonia, you got to stop emailing me for him. He has to do it himself. So he didn't go for a whole month and he didn't email. And I didn't email because they told me not to. And then they kicked him out. And that was that. No, I was pissed, but I was like, oh, whatever. So he sits around the house and plays piano. I mean, guitar and sometimes piano. Hi in Winnipeg. Heidi, hi. Oh, he knows. Like he could totally do a YouTube channel, but he just won't do anything. Well, he'll play guitar though. And he's getting pretty good at Russian. I don't think he's like conversational. He would be, like most people, if they've been doing Russian as long as he has, they would be pretty conversational by now. But I guess because of his autism, maybe it's taking longer. But he's got some Russian, you know. So I think that's kind of cool. Yeah, he could, but the thing is, he can't like get it together to do anything. I'm telling you, like you have no idea. Like he's not, it's just not together, you know. Like he can't organize himself. Yeah, well, that's why sometimes I put him on here. Exactly, like hook up with friends who like to jam. Actually, we met this guy, and the guy was like, "You should come and jam with us." But that, like, I can't get him to like get out of the house and get in the car and go do it. Like, he won't. It's hard to explain, you know. Put it this way: like when we go somewhere and we come in the garage, he doesn't even get out of the car. Like, who does that? I have to stand there and be like, Gunner, get out of the car. Get out of the car. This has been going on forever. Does that sound normal to you? We're home. We're in the garage. Get out of the car. Well, no, not overly protective. I mean, you know, I let him pretty much, he can go out with his friends. I don't stop him from doing anything. If he wanted to go to school, absolutely he could. He just doesn't go. I told him if he wants to get a job, he can get it. He can do it. But, you know, he's just not moving. The only thing is he asked me for driver's ed, but I said, listen, every time I've signed you up for something, I spend my money and then you don't stick to it. So I just waste my money. So I said, I'm not sure I want to spend that kind of money unless I know that you're going to do it. And I told him I'd like to see you keep a schedule of going to bed and getting up at a regular time. If you can do that, then we'll take a chance on enrolling you in an expensive course. You guys, I spent $3,600 on a drum lesson. I had to buy the whole 1 year package. He did 4 and dropped out. All my money down the fucking drain. Okay. So we've been there, you know? No, it's not normal. It's not normal. I have not seen anyone that when they arrive somewhere and everyone is getting out of the car and they're all like, come on, get out of the car. And they're still sitting in the car. And sometimes not even on his phone. He's like looking in the mirror. Like, that's not normal. You're exhausted probably just hearing about it. You know, the thing is, he is motivated. That's where it gets complicated. He is motivated. He has dreams. He has ambitions. He has things he wants to do. I think he has like such a problem with his executive function, like the part of your brain that's able to say, okay, we're going to start with this and we're going to do that, we're going to do that, that it's so bad that like literally everything, as soon as he starts to do anything, even just getting dressed, becomes completely overwhelming. Oh, I didn't see your text, Pam. No, okay, sorry. I probably didn't. Yeah, he like just becomes overwhelmed. Like, why can't he go in the kitchen and make himself some toast and put some liver sausage on it or something? There's not really a reason. And yet I tried to push him to feed himself by like going out and leaving him here and saying, well, you got this that you can make. I come home at the end of the day and he hasn't eaten all day. It's not normal. He's 17. He's almost 18. Who's going to do that? No, I don't think there's exercises for it. I think we all take for granted that we can decide on a goal, figure out what we're going to do to make that happen and go through the steps and complete the goal. Like we all take for granted that we can get from point A to point B. And for him, apparently it's very, very difficult to the point where he feels immediately overwhelmed to the point where he's like paralyzed. So I don't know. Oh, your son finished high school but never leaves the house now for about 10 years. Very smart, but not going to be a working class hero. Yeah, I mean, I think people do the best they can, you know. I mean, we raised him right. He has good values. It's not like we didn't try to get him to get up. I did it every day. I got him up and got him to school. We went through a lot. I homeschooled him. I mean, it's not like I just let him. You know, it's not like that. He was raised to value education, so he wants an education. He's got some kind of problems, but it's just we got one appointment with a psychiatrist after a very long time of trying to get some help. In the end, that's who they sent us to, a psychiatrist. She spent 20 minutes talking to him and told him uh, she was going to prescribe Prozac, and if he doesn't take it, she's not going to see him. There was no discussion. There was no like room for anything else. It was like Prozac or there's a door, you know. Anyway, I'm not sure if Prozac would fix this kind of problem, but I was afraid of it, you know. Yeah, Prozac, exactly. I didn't feel comfortable, let's just say. Neither did he. Nope, it wasn't. I wasn't happy with the service, but it took a like you know we used to have a really good doctor at that hospital, a psychiatrist, and he told us that there was not a medication for autism specifically, and that they give the stimulants if there's like an ADHD type thing going on, which we had tried and that didn't work. We had to try it. That's you know it was we were obligated to. They don't give like risperidone and that kind of stuff unless they're very aggressive because there's a lot of serious side effects. And we also tried Intuniv at one point, guanfacine, which did not agree with him. So, you know, that doctor did not want to give him what ECT with electrical shock. Oh, I don't think so. I'll wipe out your memory and stuff. I don't know. I mean, I had a friend who had to have that because she was psychotic and she wasn't responding to treatment. And it wiped out a lot of her memory. It really did. That was her experience. I mean, is that what you're talking about? I don't think so. I wouldn't do that to him. But yeah, that other doctor, Dr. Zuccolillo, he was great. And he was like, look, there isn't really like a medication that fixes this. And he gave him the clonidine and that did help. But then he retired. Wait, who are you trying to help, Pam? I must have missed your comment. Oh, my friend who that happened to, well, she was like probably in her maybe 30s or 40s when it happened. No, yeah, she was in her 30s when it started. Actually, what happened with her was she got like the thing that causes mono Epstein-Barr virus and it like got into her brain somehow. and it really made her crazy, like bag lady crazy. And she was a professor at a university, and she went completely out of her mind and had to be in the mental hospital, and like nothing was working. But it started when she got the mono. Oh yeah, before I forget, I wanted to tell you guys that I am on Whatnot, and I did I leave a link? Um, wait, what's this? Okay, okay, there's a chat. I wanted to give you the link for the invite for Whatnot. I'm gonna put it in the chat because if you use no, that's not it. If you use the link, um, you get hold on a second. You get $15 US credit on anything. Like I think on the site. So you can use that. You don't have to buy from me, I don't think, but it's free money, right? So when you sign up, there it is. Please use my link. Oh, did it cut out for a second? Okay, so there's the link for Whatnot. It's a selling platform from the US, and I'm on it now. My name is Elga's Bazaar. So please, well, if you join with my link, you're going to be following me. Um, and it's like mostly live sellings, like auctioning. I put in the title that I was going to show you my thrift finds. I feel like, oh my God, I'm talking so long. Maybe it's not a bad thing because I haven't been on here in so long. Maybe somebody's going to like listen to this in the background later on replay while they're doing their chores. Like that's what I do. Um, but yeah, it's a selling platform and it's live selling. You guys can also get on there and sell. You can apply to sell. So there's that too. And I've been doing like vintage decor. So you know what? I wanted to give you that link. Please use my link to sign up. And I would really appreciate it if you come and watch some of my shows. It would really mean a lot to me. Because I'll be honest with you, it's kind of daunting when you open your camera to do your show and there's like almost nobody there. But I'm very new on the platform. Thank you, Murdy. I'd love to see you there. Hi, Deepak. Um, that would be like a really great way to support me just to show up, you know? That would be very cool. So I'm not there like talking to myself. Blue Flyer, why do you keep calling me Dutcher and Ditcher? What the heck is that? What's gotten into you? I mean, seriously, like what's gotten into you tonight? I don't get it. But anyway, I'm gonna show you some of the things, okay, that I hope you can see me okay. Because so you guys know my pie cupboard. You see that pie cupboard? That's the pie cupboard that I inherited from my mom. See, it has these doors with the little holes in it. You see that? So I inherited this pie cupboard. And wait, I'm sorry. I'm going to just move this up a little bit. So the good thing is that now like I'm using this to do live sales because I wasn't wanting to do it on Poshmark because I'd have to pull all my clothes out and I had these racks up and they were full of clothes and then like nothing was selling. And then like the racks would periodically cave in and it was a big disaster. So I got like really discouraged with selling on live on Poshmark with the clothes. But I realized that if I use this cupboard as like a display cupboard, I can have all the stuff there and just pull it out. Okay. So I just want to show you. So this section, it's like, what do you call it? Like farmhouse. Wait, can I pull this over here? Okay, can you see that? Okay, so this is like my farmhouse decor section. And I had a couple other things in there. I had a few. And I had these two beautiful bottles and they sold in like 24 hours. Like as soon as I put them up, they sold. They didn't end up selling on Whatnot. They sold on Poshmark, but they were absolutely gorgeous. So I have all these things. Like this is like a duck, an iron doorstop. And this, it's an iron cow, um, like to hang your keys. And then I like have like assorted things like glass, like the county fair jug. And some things like this. I got a couple of those. Hold on a second. That's really weird. Like my chat is not loading on here. What happened with the chat? Okay, well, it's really weird because for some reason now the chat isn't playing on my phone, but I have it open on the laptop so I can see it there. So can I show you a couple of things? The sweater, I bought it actually on Poshmark in a live, and it's my favorite sweater. It's so cozy. Okay, have a good night, Pam. Cottage core, yeah. Okay, but this is like farmhouse. I'll just show you a few quickly. To show you what I've been thrifting. Actually, I love the glass jar. And then in the middle, this section right here. Oh, hey, you signed up, Cajun. Thank you. No, that's okay, but I'm going to be doing auctions like every week. Hi, Charlie Delano. Oh, you watched me in London. Yeah, that was like a couple years ago. Well, I'm glad you found me. I just decided to do a live. I haven't done one in a long time. I was just going to show a few things in my pie cupboard before I wrap it up. So then this section is like the tall things, and it's kind of like mid-century. Thank you, Mama Rages. There was a lag. Yeah, there's something's weird. Oh, yeah, well, I can't reload it, but I can see it on my laptop. So I found this. I don't usually pick up this kind of stuff, but look, it's a fairy statue. So that's for the like cottage core. That's for the fairy core, little cottage fairy. She's pretty cute. And and then in this section, I'm trying to figure out the best way to organize it, but right now I've got it by like style. So this one is like the mid-century. So that's where I have like my mid-century glass. And like I have these also. I don't know if you guys saw these before with the nautical style. And I have a few like that. I've got this really great one here that's mid-century too. And then I'm going to be doing like a dark academia raid train, which is a thing where like we all get together and we schedule each other like one after the other, and we send our viewers into the next show. I'm kicking off the train, so I'm not going to have all the viewers. I'm going to kick it off, and then I'm going to send them to the next person. And so that way you're going to see like more people that sell like in this kind of category. And it's dark academia. So I've been like trying to gather up some dark academia stuff. So far I think this bottle is pretty like cool and spooky looking dark academia bottle, right? Okay, so I've got that one. And dark academia, it's like, think like 18th century, like library or lab or something, so some of this kind of glass. Yeah, I have this one, Murdy. I'm still working on trying to get the remains of the sticker off, but yeah, this one's colored, and people love that stuff. I had this beautiful little bottle. It was very old, and it was like an octagon or something shape, and it was made in Italy, and it had this like turquoise cast that you would see like reflecting in the base. So beautiful. I didn't even know how nice it was. I sold it to her for $1 because she bundled with some other things, and it was so dirty. I cleaned it and I was like, oh my God, this thing is so gorgeous. So she loved it. She got it for $1. Ladinium jug. Oh, cobalt glasses. I had 2. I sold them on Poshmark though, but I know what that is. Okay, and I have 3 of these. This is the dark academia, I guess, kind of stuff. Those little bottles for your like samples of your potions and your herbs and stuff. And I have, whoops, oh my God, don't fall. I've got 3 of these. I thought this was like pretty like dark academia, like a little bit of vampire vibes there. silver plated chalice, you know. I got 3 of those. And then another thing with the dark academia is because they do a lot of like nature based stuff, but like in an academic way. I have this beautiful nautilus shell. I don't even know exactly what it's worth, but I know it's vintage and it's pretty cool. So I'm going to put that in my show, but only for that. That's going to be on the 9th of February. And I better be very careful with it. And then I have this box, which is like silver plated, but it's missing like one of the things here, but it's still a cool little box, you know. I don't know if anybody wants a box that's missing part of the closure, but anyway. And I have these. These are like green glass. These are pretty cool bowls. But this is more like 1930. Oh, Murdy, thank you so much. Thank you. He sent me a super chat. Bless you, Murdy. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So the green glass, this is like kind of 1930s. I have a bit of that. Like this one, I would say this also goes in like sort of 1930s style, like vintage decor. And actually this also, I'm not sure the age exactly, but this is like probably Imperlux. This one's very, very beautiful. I think probably it's glass. But it's special because it has all that color in it. Yeah, there was a perfume called Imperlux who made bottles like this. So some of this stuff, like in the middle here, I would say I tried to group the like earlier stuff. I've got a little painted box also, a little bentwood box. And I got all these shells here too. So I have one of these. And then a few like assorted larger shells and like pieces of coral. So I thought I would put this in the Dark Academia show. We'll see how that goes. Thank you so much, Charlie. He sent me a super chat. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, you guys. Bless your hearts. You guys are amazing. This is more for like the cottage core. This is like the kind of stuff I would do normally in the show. I love this thing. No takers yet, but I think it's pretty cute. And this, maybe I would do this in the Dark Academia. I think this is one of those things where they used to like put their calling card. And then you guys, I found ducks. I found a set of 3. I've got, this was more like, I was trying to find stuff that looks like rich people country home, you know? So I found these ducks because I never found ducks before. And I was looking for that kind of stuff. And then I also found this one, which is like a fancy duck, you know? And then I have my, I'm gonna put the duck here. Okay, this is my Austin Powers ashtray. Groovy, baby. You know, it's a yin yang. So this is the kind of thing I would put in like a mid-century kind of show. And then this is like back to the 1930s kind of stuff again. So I have like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So those are some of the things. And then, so like now I'm still looking for more glass. Like I'm looking for little bottles, you know, seeing if I could find any, like maybe on Marketplace. And, oh yeah, I found these recently. Like this is from 1960. Apparently these are pretty collectible. Because I had like no art and people were asking about art. Like I got those. And this is like very like farmhouse. Another like nursery rhyme, and there's some kind of painting. I think it's like a lithograph. It's like a type of print. Just trying to run through it a little quickly so you can see what I've been up to. And then, yeah, I have like a few. I thought I might put this in the Dark Academia show. What do you think of this? Can you guys still hear me? Hit that. Hit that vape. You know I will. No, I haven't done estate sales yet. You know why? Because this is like all the space I have for my inventory, just this little cupboard. But I think that as I've been doing this, I've been getting better at knowing what to pick up, you know? And so some of the things that I pick up more recently, like they sell more quickly. I've tried to like have some more discipline because before I'd be like, oh, that's cool, and I'd buy it. And it's not really the thing that people are looking for. It just appealed to me. So I've gotten better. Okay, the book. Oh, good. It's just dust. I was thinking I might put this in the show. This is pretty cool. It says makeup routine. Makeup routine is no makeup. Very funny. The new book of etiquette, Richler. It's very old. Let me see. 1941. Murdy, thank you. He sent me a super chat again. Yeah, I appreciate it. You like, oh, I sold a lot of that glassware. Oh my God, Trish, did I ever show you those big tumblers I had with the like turquoise like diamond pattern? I showed them in on Whatnot. They sold right away. And did I show you the flamingo glasses? They were like pink and they were like Art Deco style with flamingos. Sold right away. Oh, thank you, Serenity. I thought you were just trolling me. I don't have any makeup on. I'm 53 years old. I don't bother anymore. No, I don't have any makeup. I don't have time. But anyway, don't send her to the Gorge of Eternal Peril, Murdy. She was just trying to be nice. So this is like an old etiquette book. Thank you, Serenity. I think it's the lighting. So this is cool because I actually have a collection of these vintage etiquette books, and they'll tell you like how to behave, basically. The value of good manners, conforming to custom, the habit of courtesy. Oh, wait. There was one, it just said on being different. Wait, is it okay to be different? Anyone can adopt peculiarities of manner or dress in the mistaken belief that this expresses personality, but it takes courage and sincerity to be yourself. It is far easier to develop one or two peculiar mannerisms than to bring your personality to a flowering of its own richness and beauty. But do not be under the mistaken impression that by being different, you are expressing yourself. You are not. To express self requires no effort. The personality needs no advertising. It is eloquent, but with a gentle eloquence that is entirely unobtrusive. My God. Of course, if you are different, you will attract attention to yourself. But to attract attention is not desirable. It borders too close upon vulgarity. Well, I'm glad that I don't have to abide by these rules because I can't help it. I am always a bit different and weird. It's the way the good Lord made me. I tried to live up to this. I tried to conform and I failed. I guess they didn't take autistic people into consideration when they wrote this book on manners. But anyway, it still makes an interesting read. So there's that. The junk journal crowd destroy them? Well, once they own them, they can do whatever they want with them. I'm a great reader. Well, thank you. I'll read you some more some other time. Well, I did go to university, so I had to do quite a bit of reading. Oh, thank you, Trish. I'm glad you liked that. Okay, let's see what else I have. Pocket-sized Hamlet for the academic. And this one is, what is it? Pocket-sized. The World's Classics. Utterly, insufferably boring, but very sophisticated. And then I have this. which is a little bit magané, as we say here in Quebec, but it's extremely old. It's French, I think. Yes, it's French. It's called Moucheron, and it's very, very old. But I couldn't find a date on it. I don't know if anybody wants this, you know. But it's quite a beautiful book. But you see, Magani. And then I have this, The Brazilian Adventure, which is also an old book. And it's like, you know, sophisticated dark academia with a map in it. What is the 1934? 1934. That's pretty old, right? So I showed you a lot of my inventory. Oh, wait, I've got this painting too. I thought this would be kind of cool. Look at the dark academia vibes on this one. Oh, stupid ring light. See, it's a boy with a monkey. And okay, and then I have this one. And this one is really old. It dates from like the mid 19th century, so like 1850s or something. And it's like it's an old style print, and then it was hand colored. And I took it to a gallery actually. I took it to a gallery and had them examine it. And they told me it was mid 19th century. So it is very old. So there's a bit of what I have, and I'm looking to get more dark academia stuff. And some of it I might want to keep. Oh, good night, Murdy. Thank you so much. Thank you for all your support. And thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Hope to see you on Whatnot. So we can chat there too. 100-year-old cookbooks. Well, that's interesting too. Yeah. I'm thinking I probably have a couple of those. And I had some other things that I don't know if I want to sell. Like I actually bought this for me. This is very like academia. This is perfect. Look at this beautiful poster. I really like it. I'm not sure I want to offload it, you know? Yeah, of course you can sub. Anyway, there I have so much stuff, but that's some of it. So I'm gonna have to close it up now because I've been here a very long time. Thanks again, Murdy, and thank you everybody for joining me. And I'm gonna try to do this more often. Okay, wait, no, that's the old chat. Okay, maybe I'll give you the link one more time here. Okay, there's my invite link if you want to join Whatnot and get $15 credit. And eventually, I guess when I've earned it, they're gonna let me like multicast to YouTube. So I'll be able to like do a show on there and have it show up on YouTube. But right now I don't have that feature, but that would be cool. Because then you guys would see that I pop up here, and then you could actually go visit me over there if you wanted to. Okay, well, thank you so much, you guys, and I love you all, and you've been really great. So God bless, and I'll see you soon. Hey, guys.